All right, so this is where we are. We already have the front valve cover off because of the diag. Getting this cover off is super easy. Everything is right in sight. You're just pulling off the coils, unplugging them, unplugging this here. This harness gets all moved out of the way, and oxygen sensor comes unplugged. And really, it's just the perimeter bolt, and then there's 2 center bolts. The dipstick tube, there is a bolt down here. You can get with a 13mm ratcheting wrench or a little shallow socket. Well, actually, it has to be a deep socket. It's this bolt here. So it is a deep socket to get over this little stud. I used a ratcheting wrench. That was just really easy for me, ratcheting a wrench to get it out. But anyway, that has to come off to be able to move it just a little to get the valve cover up. But that's the only kind of secret. Otherwise, it's super easy to get to. My most used tool on this project will be a ratcheting wrench. There's lots of brands out there. This is a weird off brand that I've had for years. It has served me well. This thing will save your wrist and save a whole bunch of time. There will be a link in the description, not for this one, but for a different model. But whichever one you choose, it will be a lifesaver. So I'm gonna start over here with the Airbox. Just pop this off, electrical connectors. If it has this red tab on it, this red tab has to just be pushed back out of the way, and then you just pinch the connector and pull it off. I'm not sure why they do those tabs, like a little safety tab or something. A number of manufacturers utilize that style. 8mm, a lot of these will be 8mm or 10mm. Pull that off. Let me see if this will just slide off somehow. So you want to separate this boot from this hose. There we go. Just pops off. Another 8mm. Loosens that up. All right. I'm gonna put the bolt back on just so we don't lose it. But we're gonna pull that whole thing off right here on the back of the intake. Just with a pair of pliers. There we go. And that whole thing can just move out of the way. And there's another big hose back here. We'll pop that off as well. Just leave it back there. This EGR stuff does have to come off. So let's go ahead and do that. There, that comes off like that. Feels like it's out of the way enough. Then we got the map sensor here. Pop that off. We'll just pull the throttle body off. There's 4 bolts here, and it looks like it'll just separate from the intake. And then we don't have to worry about all those hoses. 10mm, we'll pull those off. Got this one. That red connector still goes to the plastic. So let me get some pliers. And we'll get this off. Okay, there we go. So now we'll just pull the main bolts off. We'll need a deep extension. 6-inch extension. I want to pull it kind of forward away from the EGR. A lot of fuss for a little intake manifold. This little harness connector here. In the back for the map sensor. Having a pair of pliers like this can sometimes help get these harness connectors off. There we go. This EGR goes in quite a bit. It's pretty deep. Probably clean that out before we put it all back together. Okay, so let's keep plugging away and get this off. Let me get a vacuum cleaner. We're just gonna suck up everything we can. And we are gonna put rags in the intake so that nothing falls down. All right, so let's just start unplugging stuff. Making our way. We got this little, I don't know what that is, a little pressure sensor for the PCV system. We got all the ignition coils can come unplugged. Remove the ignition coils. All right, looks like this thing is gonna be next. Power steering. Like I said, everything's either an 8 or a 10 so far. I guess there has been one 13 in the front for this tube. I think this power steering reservoir is going to be a pain in the butt. So there's a little bracket on the back with an 8mm. I don't know if you can see it, probably not, but there's the variable valve timing solenoid connector on top. We'll pull that off. Might need a flathead screwdriver to push that tab in. Disconnect this here too. Like a little radio suppressor or something. Right there. I want to pull these studs off with the 10 mil ratcheting wrench. I have a feeling they're gonna get in our way. They're just the studs that held the power steering pump on, or the pump reservoir, I mean. So in the back here, there's a harness connected to the valve cover we're gonna get with these pliers here. Just pop them up. Okay, and then there's a bracket back here as well, held on by an 8mm. You'll feel it with your hand. I'll pull you around and show you once we get more stuff undone. Hopefully I can get it with this, but I don't think I can. So again, ratcheting wrench. And they have the swivel head. That's really helpful in a lot of cases. All right, that'll be a fun one to remember where it goes. Okay, now the rest of this harness can just be pushed out of the way. Looks like it's just pushed out of the way. All right, no big deal. So there's one more spot right here where the harness is connected to the valve cover on this side here. There we go. Okay, now that's out of the way. All right, 10mm. This one here in the front has that little radio frequency suppressor. That has an 8mm holding that little suppressor on. And then it's a 10mm under it. This is what it looks like right here. Just put that aside. So now the rest are 10mm. Now these in the back will be a little fun getting to. Looks like there's one more little connector right here in the corner, the far corner. I can't seem to get it off. Everything's just so tight. I think that got it. Now the ones in the back are directly across from the ones in the front. So if you just locate the ones in the front and you can feel where it is in the back. Oh, another one. Another stinking connector clip. They just break all the time. I don't even know why they put them on. I don't know. This one's gonna be super hard. There, got it. Just these little clips, probably hard to see, but they're for the wiring harness. It goes over the top of a stud. Did I get it all, please? Yes, I did, okay. Wow, that was a hard one. All right, I think I have one more right by this thing. Sorry, my fat head's probably in your way. Right there. I think I can get that. All right, and then two in the middle. Let's try to maneuver this bad boy out. I still don't know what we're gonna do about this thing. If I take that hose off, it's gonna make such a mess. All right, so we're gonna take a syringe like this and just suck out as much as we can. It's gonna make a mess, but if you don't have a syringe, then just, I guess, be prepared for the mess that it's gonna make. I think that's it. I think I need new gloves. Long pair of needle nose to get down in there. There we go. You ready for the secret ingredient? Bring it back under the EGR valve. Bring up the front first. So keep this side down, bring up the front. Just like that. Still a little wiggle, there we go. And then up and out. That was such a pain in my rear. So that's the ticket. The other thing that the manual has you do is remove this cowl, and that will actually get you more working room from back there, but it's not absolutely necessary. Maybe if we're struggling putting it in, then we'll do that, but getting it out, you can still get it out without doing that. It'll just be easier reaching stuff in the back. We just want to clean off really well the channel inside, any RTV we want to scrape off, before setting this new gasket in. The gasket, there is a left and a right. This little big dip here for the water pump should be pretty obvious to know which gasket goes to which one. And then these for our spark plug seals, we want to pop those out. Having just a little angled pick like this, easy to get the old ones out. And then we'll slap the new ones in. And that is it. Anywhere where there's these little square pieces, there's 2 on the back, 2 on the front. That's where RTV is going to be going, but on the head side, not on the cover itself. We want to make sure that those are clean with just a little bit of brake clean, just making sure those are nice and oil free. Then on the head, all we want to do, so again, anywhere there's a crease that RTV want to get off, we want to make sure the surface is nice and clean. It doesn't typically take a scraper because it's a rubber gasket. The RTV may take a little scraper, but this pretty much is just with a rag, and you want to wipe from in to out, not from out to in. You don't want to get any of that dirt and debris inside the engine, but in to out, wipe off your towel, in to out, wipe off your towel, and just do that all the way around and make it nice and clean. And then don't forget these for your spark plug seals. That's it. And then we want RTV on this crease, and then the front cover crease, and then there's a crease down here. Same with the back. The back will be done exactly the same, but there's only 2 creases on this one that get RTV. So we're going to start with the front. That way when I'm working over the back, I don't get anything knocked in the front here. Then we'll hop on to the back. The back is going to be a chore. That was kind of the chore pulling it off, but it should be fine. Putting it back on, we kind of know some of the pitfalls and hang-ups we were having, so we can avoid those putting it back in. And this is the tightening sequence. Pause here, look at the pattern. That's how you want to tighten it to 89 inch-pounds. That'll be the same on both valve covers. Just a little tip, using silicone paste as a lubricant for your variable valve timing seal here, that can help it slide on and slide over that seal a lot easier. So we got both valve covers on. Again, the front, super easy to do. The back actually was a lot easier. The power steering pump reservoir, the fluid reservoir, I took this hose off so that I had more maneuverability. So when it came time to plug in that back big fat hose, I had a little more flexibility with it. Kind of a booger to get it in, having a pair of pliers on it and trying to push this on, but it is doable. But a little booger. Coils plugged in. Don't forget there's a bolt back here for this power steering. It's the one wrapped in looks like aluminum foil. There's a bolt bracket back there. Don't forget that. Don't forget plugging in this silly thing there. All right, last thing on this beast is the intake manifold. I don't have torque specs, but I'm just gonna go with how everything else kind of is. 89 inch-pounds seems to be a right number, but I don't have the spec. Same with this throttle body. I'm just gonna go with 89 inch-pounds. And just remember, for this manifold, the ticket is you have to go in at an angle because of this. But yeah, other than that, it should just slide in, bolt in, get this back on, all the hoses and connectors, filling up the power steering fluid. I'm just filling it up, letting it burp a little, fill it up, let it burp. We are all back together, completely finished. Time to start it. All right, that was long enough. Run smooth. I'm gonna let it warm up in just a second. There's still a few things I wanna do, like top off the power steering fluid. That'll be a series of just filling it up, turning the steering wheel one way to the other until it locks. Fill it up, keep doing that, and just bleed all the air out of the system.